you're going to find the recordings.
You can keep your camera on or turn it off, whatever you would prefer.
And Kayla was really good about making a PowerPoint because she loves technology, which I love because I'm not as familiar, but she's going to show a PowerPoint that pretty much explains everything about the curriculum. And then at the very end, we will for sure give you time to ask questions. All right? All right, here we go.
So I'm going to share my screen. If you can't see it, just unmute yourself and just let us know and we can kind of fix that problem, but we should be able to see it.
Does everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Curriculum night.
So curriculum night.
Okay.
Some just quick introductions.
So, I am Mrs. Scruggs and I teach 4A. I came from the Midwest and I am a farm girl at heart. I had 4 children of my own and they all went through St. Louis. And so I know what you are going through. This is a different world though than when they were going here, but it is an interesting new way to teach. Anyway, I will be teaching science to the 4B students as well as to my own. Go ahead, Kayla.
I'm Miss Crosby. I'm teaching the 4B class. I grew up over in Seattle, lived here all of my life. I had Catholic education at Blanchette High School and then went over to Gonzaga over in Spokane, Washington. And I'm very excited to be joining this community. Cindy, Mrs. Scruggs has been great so far. And I'm really looking forward to starting this year off with everyone.
Okay.
Curriculum. Our curriculum is listed on this particular sheet for you. And as you can see, with the online learning, we've actually added quite a few things. So with religion, we not only have the text, the We Believe text, and please make sure your children don't write in that. It is a regular textbook that we use again next year. So when we assign in that, please make sure that they just do it online paper. We'll tell them that too. And then we also gave the Children's Catholic Bible, which is a wonderful gift from St. Louis that we use as a text. And if they stay at St. Louis all through 8th grade, they'll be using it every year. And so they can write in it, they can take notes in it. We ask that they got Bible tabs. So that they would be able to find the different chapters and books in the Bible a bit easier. So that's what we have as our texts in religion. So Kayla will go over reading.
Yeah, reading. So we use Journeys. That is the name of the curriculum. It's our student anthology. So in that book, it has all of the stories we'll read. It has things about grammar and spelling. And with that, each student got a reader's notebook. So that's the workbook. We'll use that for comprehension questions about the story, some grammar practice, spelling practice. So for reading, the main 2 things are that textbook with the stories and then the workbook that they'll use.
You need to let someone in.
Yeah, that's what I
Sorry. We also try to integrate 3 different novels. So each trimester we might integrate Among the Hidden, Castle in the Attic, and Number the Stars. Now these books are quite aggressive with a vocabulary, and so this is a great stretch for your child, and it kind of introduces them to a higher level. So we will see just how they're doing with the regular student anthology, and then we will integrate it when we feel they're ready for it, and we're ready. Because sometimes those little stories, it's not enough for them, and so we like to challenge them with the other ones. Okay.
Do you want to keep talking? We're just playing around with some stuff.
So
we have.
So the novels, we have worksheets and packets that would go with that, and that is a little bit different because, again, they have a lot more of their writing, and they get to experience more of connecting with what is going on in our world too. So it's really quite nice. And I'll go into math then. We have the Savas math, which we know as the Pearson math from last year. It's the same one. I don't know, they changed their name. Go figure. But we have that online, and we also have the workbook volume 1, which they have at home. We do a lot through that. What you are going to need to know is that when they are online, the math, a lot of what they're going to be doing is dealing with the lesson. So like, for instance, we are on lesson 1-1, and we would have them look at the video for lesson 1-1. And then there's a lot of other things that go along with it, and they can get a lot more practice than what we're even actually giving them in the classroom. We plan to do a lesson a day. We're starting slow though, just so you know. And so for sure, Monday will be 1-1.
So kind of with math, we might assign, like Cindy was saying, the video the night before, so just they can get a little quick introduction to it before we teach it. And with that website, there's some math games that we can assign to them for more practice, or there might be like a supplemental problems if certain people need more help in a certain area. So that will definitely come in handy once we start going on with math.
It's really important that your child knows their basic facts, because we do a lot with bigger numbers in 4th grade. So they should know their basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division facts. It will be most helpful to them. Otherwise, they might kind of struggle and take a long time to work. So know that right from the beginning. And as we work in math online, we kind of have decided as a school that we wouldn't give like the full amount that we would if we were in class. Now, they have the option that they could always go ahead and do more than what we are just assigning. So just know that. Okay.
Going to the next slide, here's some more. So spelling, we will mainly use probably the workbook, so the reader's workbook, their spelling pages in there, but we also are going to use a new website called Spelling City. We are going to introduce that to each class tomorrow, and we'll work a little bit more with it on Monday. But that's going to kind of be similar to the math website, where they'll be able to go on, they'll see their list of words for the week. There will be some games that they can play to help with spelling the words, or just different activities like that.
We might even do the tests in the Spelling City. We haven't quite looked into it as much as we want to yet. We've been working very hard, but just so you know, the Spelling City goes right along with the Houghton Mifflin, and so the words that are in the Houghton Mifflin reading we'll find those are the same words that you're going to see as their spelling list in Spelling City. Science, that's my toy. I love that. Anyway, I've got a lot of things, and I will try very hard to work it so that they can do it online. I might give certain assignments where they have to watch videos from Mystery Science, or perhaps even videos that deal with what we're learning in class. I have a lot of hands-on, and again, I might have to assign things that they might have to use found objects at home. And then as we get to where the classrooms will be open, I might actually have some of the materials in a bag for them or something, so that they can do certain projects, much like what we did with the cup, where we had them working on that cup for religion.
So social studies is what I will be teaching to both classes. So at home, the textbook that they currently have is that Washington Adventure book. That is the one that we will be using primarily for the first few months. And towards kind of January, February, later in the year is when we go into Oregon Trail and the Northwest Coast People. So we use StoryPath for that. So it is kind of more interactive Story Path is, and it's broken down into like episodes. And so basically we get really in depth with the concept through different kind of sections of it. And the primary focus of social studies is map and globe skills. So starting this month, we're starting with maps. They'll learn all the different symbols and things like that. And then we're going to go into Washington State as a whole. We're going to focus on the 5 different regions in Washington, the resources, the jobs, and all of that. And then we will move into the Native Americans and the explorers, kind of December. And then Lewis and Clark, Oregon Trail. And then we'll end the year with government, specifically Washington State government. There will be a lot of fun projects. Some of you might have had children who are in the older grades who did these projects.
They are fun.
Yeah, I am currently trying to figure out little ways to adapt it since a lot of them are in class and in groups, but I have some ideas and I think it'll still be a great experience for Washington State history.
Handwriting. Last year in 3rd grade, the students had learned cursive and the proper form of cursive, and we want them to practice it. So we sent home a little sheet that has the practice cursive. Anytime they're writing on a line in a workbook or on lined paper, they should do it in cursive. Anyone who knows me knows I have a sign up in my room that says cursive, only cursive. And I have stuck with that for years. In fact, I have people laugh that I still have that sign. But it is their one chance to learn how to write in a cursive form. And so if nothing else, they can learn how to sign their name. So that's one good thing. Anyway.
Okay, and then the additional subjects. So we have physical education, computers, library, art, and music. So they will see these 5 specialists once a week. And so those are already programmed into their calendar by those specific teachers. So my class had computers today.
My class had, what did they have? They had.
I think they had music.
Yep, that's right. They had music
And
today.
so just like how they log on to our classes, they'll see in their calendar that specialist class, they'll click on that and they'll join the meeting. And I think a video was sent out last week from the specialist that kind of explains more of what they're going to be doing. So you can go look at that video.
And
okay, so we're going to kind of get into the ABCs of curriculum night. So we're going to kind of break down a lot of information and questions that you probably have.
we will be sending these papers home to you and have it into Teams, right?
Yeah, we'll email it to you later this afternoon or later this evening, and then we'll also upload it on Teams. So if you wanted to print it out and just have it for your reference, you'll be able to access it.
The 4th graders have an assignment tablet, and in their assignment tablet, they are to write all their homework. And I've already started a little bit of instruction on that. And so they need to look to find the date of September 10th for tomorrow. And in that, they would write any sort of assignment that I would give or Kayla would give for the day of Friday. And I said that it's
All these,
sorry,
all the computers.
I said it's important that they always write passport. The passport is due at the end of the month. So they have to read a book a month and have it in their passport, and then we'll talk more about that. But anyway, they should write passport. The cup is due on Monday, and on Monday they will give a presentation of that cup. And they'll turn on their camera and they'll turn on their mic and they'll be able to tell us what their name is, their purpose for the cup, and the Bible verse, and show us their decorated cup.
Yeah, any assignment, if you're ever curious of what they need to do for the night, will always be in that planner. I usually spend, probably same with Cindy, the last 5 or so minutes of each class period writing it in my planner, which they see. 4B saw that today. And I make sure that they copy the exact same thing so they know what they need to do.
That's right.
And then going on to binder for B, I'm going to show 4B tomorrow, and you'll probably go over it tomorrow with 4A. But this was on the supply list. I'm not actually sure if you can see our binder. Should I stop sharing the screen?
Yeah, maybe. So here is what my binder looks like. And I always put the pencil bag in and at least have 2 pencils and a pen and the sharpener in that. Don't put too much more because it gets too bulky and heavy. Then I have the assignment tablet because this is what they're going to be expected once they come back in class. They would have the assignment tablet in their binder. That way they can't say, I left it at home, I don't know what the assignment was, and that kind of thing. So that's the assignment tablet. The next, we put in the spell check, and that way they can always check to make sure that they're spelling correctly, because we want them spelling correctly every time they write. I always have, I call it a pinch of loose leaf paper in my binder, so that, let's say that you are going to visit grandma, at least you know you have paper and pencil if they need to do an assignment. And then the tabs, I put reading and language arts separate, but you could put it as one because it's very hard to tell the difference between the two, because language arts encompasses reading, English, and spelling. And then math is a tab, religion, and social studies. Now, science is not in the binder. Science is separate. It is in the lab notebook. And so one of those composition books that you purchased is going to be where all of our science papers go. And then behind those tabs is what we call the folder that we put all of our homework in. And if we get handed back graded papers when they come back in, they'll put it there so that later they can file it. What I envision, because we're online, is the fact that when they are doing like a math page, you would probably tear out the math page that we assign, because it's much easier to work on that page than when it's in the workbook. So we will instruct them which page to tear out, then they can work on a flat surface with it. And once they've finished it and you have taken a picture of it and sent it to our teams so that we can correct it, then you can have them put 3 holes in it and put it in their binder. So that's kind of how we're going to work it.
Yeah, it'll be a great way to keep all their papers at home organized, since they won't be turning it in physically to us right now. And we have not, again, introduced the binder, but we will start tomorrow with them on Teams, setting it up during the class. So they will get familiar with that. I'm going to go back over to the PowerPoint. And then conferences. So we are both available to conference with you at any time. We can conference on Teams. You can send us an email and we can set up a time, or the phone call, whatever works best for you. We want to make sure that this kind of transition of school online goes smoothly for all of you. So any questions or concerns, feel free to contact us and we will meet with you.
The daily schedule is on Teams. And if you haven't already done so, it would be good for you to go to find the daily schedule, which is?
It's on Microsoft Teams. I will show you that just here in a little bit, but we both in our teams have created a tab up at the top. I've talked to 4B about it today, and so they should be pretty familiar with it. But at the end of each day, we post what's going to happen the next day. So we'll say period 2 is reading. We'll say exactly what we're going to learn about and then what supplies they're going to need for that class.
And you can even use it as a checklist. So if your child has it right next to them while they're doing the work, they can just check off as we work during the day. It's kind of a nice thing for them to have.
Yeah, so you can look over it with them quickly, maybe the night before, just so, hey, this is what you're going to do tomorrow, or in the morning, you can quickly go over it with them too. So it's always on there and it's always updated. So that's a good place to look if you're ever curious of what we're doing for that day.
Discipline. We love to reinforce the fact that if your child is behaving well, we want to give them the hurrahs, the thumbs up, the high fives, and all those things, especially online. Those are things we can do when they have their cameras on. But we have seen that there's been a couple kids that have been trying to chat, and we tell them, no, you're not to chat. That's not part of the session. It is not there for you to just freely chat amongst yourselves. The chat mode is strictly for the business of, if you have a question for us as teachers, we can get back to you. And it's a nice thing for us to be able to do, because they can say, I don't understand this particular thing, and I can set up a time to meet with them during our what's it called?
Office hours.
Office hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then
if they get 2 warnings, so we will verbally say if they have 1 warning or 2 warnings, and then after, if we have to give them a 3rd, then we will be contacting the parents and emailing you to let you know, right?
yeah, so I tell them before each class, we're only in the chat box if I ask you a question or if I tell you to type in there. And then email, both of our emails are down there. They're probably on Teams somewhere. We've sent you stuff, so they're probably in your email. And you can also look on just the St. Louis website on both of our class pages. Great way to contact us. We'll get back to you right away.
And F is for files, so make sure that they file all their work so that they can find what they're working on, or can find something I might refer to later and say, remember that one paper that we did, and they would be able to find it in their binder.
Okay, grades. So all grades will be entered on Skyward. This is the first year that they will have grades on there, so it's going to be a little bit different than what they're used to. Grades are percentages and on the 1 through 4 scale. So everything that they hand in will be considered as part of the grade. So assignment, a quiz, maybe like a essay or some paragraph writing that they write, everything that they turn in is going to go into our kind of evaluation of their grade. And so you should check Skyward weekly with them to kind of keep up to date with their grade and make sure they're not missing anything.
Yes, because sometimes if they're missing something and you are not made aware of it, they could end up getting a 0 in it after we go along. We start them out, we nudge them along, we remind them, but then after a while, we go at a pretty good pace, and we want them to become the responsible students to take the lead and be on Skyward to know if they're missing anything.
Yeah. So I would just suggest once a week with your child, just checking that and make sure everything's good. And then homework. Homework is 4 nights a week. So online work is going to be turned in daily. So if we assign something on a Thursday, we just want to make sure that it's turned in by the start of the school day on Friday. If your child is unable to complete the work for any reason, please email us and let us know, and we can kind of work something out. But if we don't hear from you and they're missing work, we can't really excuse that, and it might result in a 0 for that. Any late work turned in kind of by Monday the following week. So just try your best with your child to kind of keep up to date with their homework. And this weekend will be the only exception for them having weekend homework.
Unless there's a project. That
unless there's a project. Yeah. So they're going to have that CUP project, which I'll explain more to 4B tomorrow, which will be due on Monday.
And then they can be working on their passport all month, just making sure that they read a book a month.
Yeah.
All right. In our school, we just have such a great curriculum. Honestly, we're quite progressive. And so we oftentimes give a lot of work, but here again, being online, we're not feeling as compelled to work quite as hard because the kids are going to get exhausted being on the computers. I know I do.
Yeah, we've been trying our best these first 2 days here to kind of slowly roll things out and kind of really step-by-step process of doing things so that they can get more used to it. And internal motivation. So I wish each student to feel internally motivated by his or her success. So let's help them achieve that success with lots of support, encouragement. You want the best for your child. We want the best for them. So whatever we can do to help with that.
So if they are looking on Skyward, one of the things that I've always said to my students is that, when you see a grade on something, don't feel bad, oh, I didn't get 100%, but instead say, you know what, the next paper I'm going to work really hard to get 100% or get a better grade on that. So it's something that they can use as kind of a goal setting to be on Skyward. It's a really useful tool.
And then, Jay, we just asked you to kind of during this time join together with your child to enjoy their accomplishments, successes, help them get logged onto Teams each day if they need to, or just some extra help on an assignment since we can't physically be with them right now.
And the way that you can help keep your child motivated is sometimes it's as simple as, make sure that they have a breakfast, make sure they have water right beside them, make sure that they have had a good night's sleep, and that they've gotten all their homework in. So it's really nice for them to feel like I am with it. I know exactly what is expected of me. And if they don't, please let us know. Okay.
Yeah, and that kind of ties into K2, so we'll keep going. So L, listen to your child. If there's something that they need help with or they're feeling overwhelmed, please listen to their needs and let us know if there's any way that we can help. If there's extra help, like it says there, send us an email. We have office hours at the end of the day from 12:30 to 1:30. So if you wanted to pop on and let us know something, or if they just need extra help, we'll be here for that.
And that's the nice part about chat. You can just chat with us and say, my child really needs help. Is there a possibility we can meet in Teams at such and such a time? And we could say yes or no, and then we can arrange that. So meeting with us is a wonderful way for us to be able to get to know your child too. And we plan on doing that on a regular basis. So we will make appointments to meet with your child so that we can make sure that they are understanding, they're doing exactly what they need to do. And we just want to get to know them because they're good little kids.
Yeah, so I think starting next week, probably usually on Fridays, we're just going to do quick one-on-one sessions, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, just so they can ask us questions, we can ask them, just kind of build that relationship a little bit more. And no distractions, so just kind of please make sure, I know it can kind of get a little crazy, but make sure your child just has that workplace at home that they can be on Teams, do their work without a lot of distractions.
That's right. Online learning is only going to work if we work it well. And so we've got a great team here at St. Louise. So we've got all the people on board that whatever you need, we can help you with it. All right.
And then phone, we do have a phone in each classroom. Our extensions are on there. If it was a little bit more urgent, you can give us a phone call there, or you can call the office and they can get directly to us if an email is kind of too late for you to do.
The phones won't pick up during the day. It won't ring through during the day, but leave a message and then we can get back to you and maybe even set up a Teams meeting.
And then I introduced the Passport Project to 4B today, so they should be a little bit familiar with it, so you could ask them later tonight. But it's basically, they're going to read a new book a month, and each month it's going to be a different genre. And they're just going to do kind of a little activity with it where they'll answer some questions about the story or the book they read.
A quiet workplace is always the best, and that's one of the reasons why it was important for us as teachers to come work here at school, because we have all of our books, but we also have a nice quiet place.
And then report cards, like we said earlier, this is the first year of actual grades. This is going to be new to you and your child, and it can kind of be a little bit overwhelming, but as long as they're trying their absolute best, they're getting their work in, that's kind of all that we ask of them. And all the graded papers, like we said earlier, will be a part of that grade.
Reports. We try to interject at least one report for your child to do a trimester. And so with each report, we give very clear instructions, and we take reports kind of a step by step. So it's not like we say, okay, at the end of the month, you're going to give me a report on planets or something like that. I would not do that. And so it's important for you to know we would help you step by step through it with your child. And yes, they have the ability to be able to use the computer to get some of their information. And so that's it kind of meshes very well with online learning.
And science social studies specialist, we kind of just talked about that a little bit earlier, but I will teach both classes, social studies. Miss Scruggs will teach science, and the link to that meeting is on their calendar. And then each specialist class each day, and that meeting link is also on their calendar.
The tests are going to be tricky online.
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out.
We are trying very hard to figure out the best way to test your children. And one of the ways that you might see that we have you do test is if they take a test, we would have you screenshot it and send it right away so that we know it's authentic, because we want it to be authentic measurement of what your child knows or has learned.
And then uniforms, each student just wear their St. Louis polo each day on teams so that they kind of get into the routine of, oh, we're not just hanging out at home, but we're putting on our uniform, we're getting ready to learn and complete our day.
That's right. We do ask for volunteers, but it's really hard online again once we're back in person. Although if you have an expertise in something that we are teaching, we would be glad for you to do a little online video or whatever it is that you want to do, or just explain something online to the kids in teams.
And then, like we said earlier, writing cursive. So the students, please practice using their cursive when doing their work on paper or in their workbooks. If it's like quickly taking some notes in class, that's okay to do print, and same with their planner. But for most of the assignments that are turned in, we're going to want them to write in cursive. The
websites, you have a sticker on the very front cover of your assignment tablet, the planner, and so you have all your students' logins and passwords and all that stuff. It's all right there in one nice sticker. Don't lose the sticker.
And then just X and Z, excellent job, zipping by. We're always wanting the best from the students. We want them to try their best. And I know this is a little different time, but let's kind of treasure every moment because we all know that time just flies by.
And so what's next?
We quickly, this is kind of from the administration and the school as a whole. So when we're in the middle of a Teams lesson teaching the class, or even kind of minutes before the lesson, we're not really going to be able to help solve technical issues with the computer just because our time slots, they're 30 minutes. It goes by so quick.
It really does.
And we don't really have that extra time to be helping with some tech issues. So that's why I suggest for my class, maybe try and set up your computer a couple minutes before the class starts so you can make sure everything's working. But really, we please ask to kind of help your child with that technology part of this.
And what the problem was, we were dealing with some of the sound, and it was just because it was a different sort of computer. So it's important to play around on the computer and get to know how it works and know exactly where everything is. I know I am.
Yeah.
I got to help her.
Yeah, it's been a little tough, but we've been getting through it. Now, real quick, I'm just going to show you a few different spots on Teams. I know that most of you probably went to that meeting that was last week with the administration. They kind of gave you a training. I showed the students the other day. We both did. But I'm just going to give you a view so you can really get familiar with it as well. You might see a lot right now. But so over here on the left-hand side of the bar, there's their calendar. So anytime that they have a class, they can go on here and look. They can see each thing. All they have to do is click on that class and then click join. And we have set it up where there should be a lobby, so they'll be waiting in that lobby until we accept them into the meeting. We have assignments here, so once we actually start giving assignments, it will show up here. You'll see the 4B or 4A class, and you'll be able to click on that and see what's assigned. We also have a Teams meeting, or the Teams icon there. So your students will either see, if you're in 4B, you'll see 4B and 4A social studies. But if you are in 4A,
then you'll see 4A and 4B science, because that's what I'm in charge of.
yeah, so their two teams should post here. So within this, so you'll see 4B right now. We have our general tab here. I've asked the students to not post anything in this main area unless I've asked them to, just because that can kind of get overwhelming and we want to make sure it's accessible to everyone. The files is going to be the main tab that you are going to want to look into, kind of everything that you might need. So a PowerPoint, a video, it's kind of going to be in this area. We both have our online classroom schedule, so just the overview of what happens each period. So I know some students have printed it out and has it kind of right next to their computer. That would be a great idea if you wanted to do that with your student. The class materials folder right here is going to have a lot in it. So I've kind of started adding a few things. We have lesson recordings. So each day we record our lesson just in case there might be a doctor's appointment or something and you kind of need to go back, or you just kind of want to go back and refresh yourself on what we learned that day. We might start adding folders for each of the subjects. So 4B religion, today I talked to them about some Bible tabs. I've put in some examples of what that looks like so they can go in there and just quickly kind of look at what we learned about earlier to kind of refresh themselves. We were talking, oh, it's kind of blurry, but yeah, we were talking about how to put the Bible tabs on. So really anything you think that they might need for completing an assignment or referencing is going to be in that class materials folder. We're going to try our best to keep this very organized so that is easy to navigate. You'll be able to do it, your students will be able to do it, and so it should be very clear. We won't really use the class notebook, so you can kind of just ignore that for right now. And then assignments. Once we start doing assignments, everything will show up here.
And this is also where you hand in the assignment.
Yeah, this is where you hand it in. We don't have any assignments yet, but I am going to show you an example of what this area would look like. So I'm going to kind of just go back.
Keep watching.
Yeah, so keep watching. So you can see on the side there's some little notifications. Those will usually pop up
circles
when we assign something or we post something. So we just have a test class down here. You can see there's the little notification 1. This means something's happened in this team, so I want to go check it out.
So I gave her an assignment just so that we could test it out, so what it would look like.
Yeah, so anything we post will be in this general like post section, but I'm going to go over to the assignments tab here. And you'll see 2 areas. You'll see assigned and you'll see completed. So I see that I just received an assignment, turn in spelling page 11. We will usually give some instructions, do page so-and-so, we'll give the amount of points, and we'll usually have a due date. I kind of showed 4B parents, and you might have also been able to figure out on your phone. We both suggest that you download the Microsoft Teams app on your phone, because it is going to make it a lot easier for you to upload their work, because you can easily take a picture on the phone and it will directly go there. So it'll look the same on the app, but under My Work, you'll see Add Work. And on the phone, you'll be able to click Upload from this device and it will let you take a picture. But in this case, I'm just going to take a photo on here that I had. It'll quickly upload it. I'll press done. You can go back in and kind of see it if you wanted to make sure it's going the correct way. Yeah, the photo's clear. And then you'll click turn in. So it'll give them usually a little fun cartoon to just let them know they turned in their work. And then you can press back. So now we see that there are no more assignments because you've turned that in. So anything that hasn't been completed will stay in that assigned tab.
Mhm.
So you then will know, like, this needs to be done. I haven't completed it yet. And then under completed, every single assignment will show up. So once we receive it, we will give feedback on it. And so you'll be able to then go in and see the feedback that we have given. So we might say, well done, go double check number 3 or go check number 4. Excuse me.
And you'll see which ones are right and which ones are wrong.
Yeah.
We won't be able to actually check physically on the paper. They haven't yet
Yeah, we
made that as a possibility, but I can tell you all the ones that are right or wrong, and that way you will know exactly what it is that they did wrong.
Yeah, and if you're confused about what they did wrong, send us an email or
Yeah.
join the office hours. And so that is kind of what the assignments tab will look like. I just wanted to make sure you guys got an example of it so you can help them with that. And then the one last thing with this I wanted to show you back into our Teams page was there's usually 3 more. So if you don't see one of the tabs we're talking about, usually just go click over here.
3 more.
We each have our daily schedule. So it is already updated for tomorrow, each day. Your student usually won't see all the stuff up at the top. They'll usually just see the Word document. So like we said earlier, we will post the period, what subject's going to happen during that time. We are going to be talking about the CUP project, talk more about the Bible tabs, and start reading some passages in the Bible, the supplies you need, and then the specific times of the break. We have made it so that we can just keep adding to this document. So say that they had a doctor's appointment and needed to know what happened during the specific time. You can just keep scrolling on this one area to see all the specific things we did during that time. And I think that was all of the teams things we want to show you. I know that was probably a lot of information that we just gave to you. We've slowly been walking the students through it, and we're trying our best to not overwhelm you guys with information.
And or the students.
Yeah, or the students. This meeting is recorded too, and so we can post this.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to go back and kind of watch the tutorial I just showed you, you can do that. And then we have a parent survey. So later this evening, you're going to be getting an email. It's just going to be a Microsoft Forms where you'll just type in. But we just have a few questions. We want kind of your view of your child and just want to learn a little bit more.
Tell us a little bit more. Perhaps there's something going on in your child's life that we need to be aware of, and that would make it easier for them to be the best student they can be.
Yeah, so that I think is pretty much it.
Unless you have some questions.
Yeah, so we'll send you that survey later today, and then I guess, now it's time for questions.
So when you have a question, just put your mic on, state your name, and then go ahead with your question.
If you don't, that's okay too.
Yeah, hopefully we covered everything.
Yeah, and once again, our emails are always open, so feel free to contact us that way.
Yeah, because you can give us a question later.
Yeah. So
hey guys, sorry, this is Patrick. Brother Lauren and James' dad.
Hi.
Thanks for the organization. It's awesome. Just one quick question. We were trying to figure out, as it relates to the work that the girls do you want them doing all of their work without correction and improvement or overview from mom and dad, or how much coaching should we be doing before we have them upload assignments? If that makes sense.
What I've always said in the past is that anything that a parent helps them with is going to be helpful. I mean, there's some people that hire tutors, and that's fine. The kids would have the help of the tutors. If you want to help, just try very hard to say, okay, would you look in this line? There's 2 misspelled words. Could you find them and correct them? And then when there's a test, if you could be as truthful as possible so we can have the best assessment. Don't help them so much on that. So help them study for tests and quizzes, help them be organized because they're going to need a lot of help. We can't help with that here. So those are the things that you really can help with, and I really appreciate all that kind of help. Thank you.
And then with each assignment that gets turned in, we'll try to look over it kind of that day if they turn it in right away before the next class so that we can see if they're understanding it or not, so we can kind of adjust the lesson need be.
Cool. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for clarifying.
Good question. Yeah. Any other questions?
If there aren't any, you are free to leave this meeting. Thank you
Yes.
so much for coming, and we're looking forward to this year.
We will make it fun.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.